Hello, my name is Jason Stabinskas. I'm the Managing Director of Los Cerros Limited, an ASX-listed company entirely focused on the Mid-Cauca Porphyry Belt of Colombia. I'll be making forward-looking statements in this presentation, and any exploration results I mention have been previously announced to the market, and I refer you to our releases on our website or on the ASX platform for further detail and relevant disclaimers. On the back of recent drilling success and capital raise, the company is now in a robust position with $10 million in the bank. And as you can see from the share price movements and volumes, we've enjoyed a significant period of growth and trading volumes on the back of recent results and the fact that we have an extended multi-rig, multi-target drilling program extending well into 2021 and therefore significant news flow in the near term. As I already mentioned, we're entirely focused on the Mid-Cauca and hold dominant positions in two districts of this well-established and prolific region of the Mid-Cauca, with multi-million ounce neighbours surrounding us and also sitting in the Miocene-aged Mid-Cauca belt. In the presentation, I'm going to talk mostly about the Quinchilla project, which includes the established ore reserve at Miraflores and the Tesorito and Chusquel targets that we're currently drilling and have been the reason or source for the excitement and shareholder momentum of late. The Quinchilla project anchor, if you like, is the Miraflores DFS, Definitive Feasibility Study, with an established ore reserve of 500,000 ounces at 3.3 gram per tonne. And as you can see from the economic metrics there, at $1,400 US an ounce is quite appealing. And of course, at $1,900 an ounce, those metrics are better. So that's the basis of the region. The Quinchilla region consists of Miraflores, and just less than a kilometre away is Tesorito, and less than 2 kilometres away is Chusquel. So let's first of all talk about Tesorito. Tesorito is a near-surface porphyry. It consists of two anomalous zones, a southern zone where we know most information and a northern zone which we've only just recently drilled. So let's first of all talk about the southern zone. Historically, we've had drill intercepts here of 253 metres at a gram per tonne, nearly from surface, and 384 metres at a gram per tonne, also fairly close to surface. And those two holes perpendicular to each other, so not just a single narrow vein of mineralisation, but something that has potential width. And then recently, and a major contributor to the success of the company's share price, we drilled hole number 8, and again that intercepted 230 plus metres at a gram per tonne, essentially from surface as well. So we've now got these three holes producing over 230 metres, producing around about a gram per tonne. So lots of excitement around that hole in terms of those widths, but also two other aspects of that hole that are quite interesting. Firstly, near surface, we recorded 18 metres at 2 gram per tonne, and a subsection of that 6 metres, I believe, at 4 grams per tonne. So the potential for near surface higher grade material that could possibly also supplement the Miraflores DFS study, which is, as you can see in the image, the proposed plant is sub 300, 400 metres away. And the other thing that was quite interesting about hole 8 is that we intercepted bornite in the porphyry core. Not enough to be economically interesting in its own right, but the fact that bornite is present suggests that there is a copper source somewhere in the system providing that copper to create this bornite in this region. So that also suggests that potentially we've got something at depth to explore as well. So a very exciting project at that southern region. We've also just finished testing for the first time, the northern region. So we put a hole through the middle of the northern anomaly, and that's told us a lot of information. We didn't hit the porphyry, but what we did hit at exactly the sort of depths that we would expect, about 130, 150 metres down hole, is strong potassic alteration, elevated copper, elevated moly, and slightly elevated gold, to suggest that we went past an intrusive cause of all that mineralisation and textures around about that depth, which is exactly the same depth as the porphyry cap or the copula that we intercepted at the southern anomaly. So the northern anomaly, first hole, very encouraging, and we'll certainly return to drilling there in the near future. We are also currently drilling at Chuscal, some 1.5 2 kilometres south of Tesorito and Miraflores. This is the second drilling program at Chuscal, with the maiden program finishing in early Q1 of this year. Chuscal is an interesting project. What we find is we have this porphyry-associated mineralisation over extensive surface expression, and that is overprinted by epithermal veining, bringing higher grade veins to the area. So in this original program that finished early in the year, we intercepted 350 metres at 0.57 gram per tonne from surface and 320 metres at 0.43 gram per tonne gold from 32 metres downhole. So that's those wide intercepts of porphyry-associated mineralisation. But every now and then we intercepted these east-west oriented ISS veins, so 2 metres at 6.44, 6 metres at 2.52, 2 metres at 8.28 and so on, bringing the sort of a boost to the grade as we went through those high-grade epithermal veins. So the current program initially was focusing on near-surface mineralisation, so a series of shallow holes, 100, 150 metre deep holes, that sort of thing, chasing the near-surface mineralisation, but also providing very valuable information to assist us in vectoring into the porphyry sources of all this mineralisation we're seeing in the area. Miraflores has a measured and indicated mineral resource of 9.27 million tonne, grading 2.82 gram per tonne gold and 2.77 gram per tonne silver, for 840,000 ounces of gold and a similar amount of silver. The mineral reserve is 4.3 million tonne, and as I mentioned before, roughly a 500,000 ounce reserve grading 3.3. The DFS describes a conventional plant and a capex of 72 million, and we're fairly advanced engineering with the DFS, and we're fairly advanced through the approvals process. And I'll talk a little bit about that more in a minute. Early in 2020, we conducted a geological review of the geological model that underpins Miraflores, and that revealed some interesting revelations. Firstly, the higher grade material tends to be associated with the subset of the Miraflores breccia, the white breccia, and that led us to define potential areas where we could potentially add to the resource through further understanding the distribution of that breccia. And the other is realization that a lot of the higher grade gold intercepts, and you can see a few mentioned on the in the box there in the bottom, are associated with two vein sets, the 200 vein set and the 800 vein set, and in particular where the 220 vein intercepts the 800 vein, and these are sheet type veins, not three-dimensional veins, they're long extended in the third dimension, where those two veins cross, creating an ore shoot. And many of the higher grade intercepts at Miraflores are associated with that ore shoot. And quite interestingly, that ore shoot extends up plunge, if you like, so higher, closer to surface, to the north or northwest, and so we're interested in potentially drilling that area as part of this program as well as drilling the two other opportunities for growth in the south of Miraflores as well. So even though Miraflores is an established project for many years, it still has potential to contribute more tonnes and grade as well, and that'll be part of the drilling program probably in 2021. So that leads on to me talking about the strategy for the company as a whole. We're essentially running two lines of investigation here. The first is obviously drilling for these significant porphyries in the region, Tesorito, Chuscal, and earlier stage targets to the north. But there's also this whole idea of fast-tracking a development scenario based on Miraflores. So we're also chasing near-surface, easily accessible grade to add to the DFS of Miraflores. And with 3 drill rigs, hopefully in November, we have 2 at the moment and a third on its way, the news flow should be quite significant pursuing those targets across the Kinchia project. Now, to close, I'd just like to point out that yes, we are an ASX listed company, but essentially we are Colombian. I'm based in Australia, but the regular crew, the 30 people that normally make up the company, Some are based in Medellin, and everybody else, or the vast majority of people, actually live in Quinchilla. And so we're a very significant part of the local economy. At the moment, we're significantly larger. We're probably more than 60 people on site at the moment with the drilling programs running, and virtually all of those people come from the local community. We have a policy of invest local, hire local, buy local, train local where we can. And I expect with the activity we have over the next 6 months and going forward, our contribution both to the community and the economy of the area should be very significant. So lots of news flow on the horizon with 3 rigs running, and I hope you watch our story with interest. Thank you for your time.